Good morning, everyone. I am going to tell you a story about My Father Goes to Court by Carlos. When I was 4, I lived with my mother and brothers and sisters in a small town on the island of Luzon. Father's farm had been destroyed in 1918 by our sudden flooding flood. So, several years afterwards, we all lived in the town, though we preferred living in the country. We had as a next door neighbor a very rich man, whose sons and daughters seldom came out of the house, while we boys and girls played and sang in the sun. His children stayed inside and kept the windows closed. His house was so tall that his children would look in the window of our house and watch us play or slept or ate, and there was any food in the house to eat. Now, this rich man's servants were always cooking and frying something delicious to eat, and the aroma of the food wafted down to us from the windows of our neighbor's house. We handed back and took all the wonderful smells of the food into our beings. One morning, we hung outside the windows of a rich man's house and listened to the musical sizzling of thick strips of bacon and ham. I can remember an afternoon when our neighbor's servants roasted 3 chickens. The chickens were young and tender, and the fat dripped into the burning coals that gave off an enchanting odor. We looked at the servants, turned the beautiful birds, and inhaled the heavenly spirit into us. Some days, the rich man glowered down at us. He looked at us one by one, as though he were condemning us. We were all healthy because we went out in the sun and bathed in the cool water of the river that flowed from the mountains into the sea. Sometimes, we wrestled with one another in the house, and before we went to play, we were always in the best of spirits, and the laughter was contagious. Other neighbors who passed by our house often stop in our yard and join us in laughter. As time went on, the rich man's children became thin and anemic, while we became strong and full of life. Our faces were bright and rosy, but theirs were pale and sad. The rich man started to cough at night. He coughed day and night. His wife started coughing too. Then his children started to cough, one after the other. At night, their coughing sounded like the barking of a herd of seals. We had inside the window and listened to them. We wondered what happened. We knew that they were not sick from lack of nourishment because they were still always frying something delicious to eat. One day, the rich man appeared at the window and stood there for a long time. He looked at my sisters, who had grown fat and laughing. Then at my brothers, whose arms and legs were like the Malawi, which is the sturdiest tree in the Philippines. He banged down the windows, ran through his house, shooting all the windows. From that day on, the windows of our neighbor's house were always closed. The children did not come out anymore. We could still hear the servants cooking in the kitchen, and no matter how tight the windows were shut, the aroma of the food came to us in the wind and drifted continuously to our house. One morning, a policeman from the residential came to our house with a sealed paper. The rich man had filed a complaint against us. Father took me with him and he went to the town clerk to ask him what it was about. He told Father the man claimed that for years we have been stealing the spirit of their wealth and food. When the day came for us to appear in court, Father brushed his old army uniform and borrowed a pair of shoes from my brothers. We were the first to arrive. Father sat on a chair in the center of the courtroom. Mother occupied a chair by the door. We children occupied in a long bench by the wall. Father kept jumping up from his chair, stabbing the air with his arms as though he were defending himself from an imaginary jury. The rich man arrived. He had grown old and without. His face was filled with scars. With him was his young lawyer. The spectators came in and almost filled the chairs. The judge entered the room and sat in a high chair. We stood in a hurry and then sat down again. After the court preliminaries, the judge looked at the father. Do you have a lawyer? He asked. I do not need a lawyer, Judge. Father said. Proceed, said the judge. The rich man's lawyer jumped up and pointed his finger at Father. Do you or you do not agree that you are distilling the spirit of the wealth and fruit of the complaint? He asked. I do not, Father said. Do you or do you not agree that while the complaint and the servants cooked and fried fat legs of lambs and young chicken breasts, you and your family hang outside the windows and inhale the heavenly spirit of the food? I agree, Father said. Do you or do you not agree that while the content of his children became sick and tubercular, you and your family have grown strong of limb and fair complexion? I agree, Father said. How do you account for that? Father got up and paced around, scratching his head thoughtfully. Then he said, I would like to see the children of the company, Judge. Bring in the children of the company. They walked silently. The spectators covered the mouths with their hands. They were so amazed to see the children so thin and pale. Father could not say anything at first. He just stood by his chair and watched them. Finally, he said, I would like to cross-examine content. Proceed. Do you claim that we stole the spirit of your wealth and became a laughing family while yours became morose and sad? Father said. Yes. Do you claim that we stole the spirit of your food by hanging outside your window while your servants cooked it? Yes. Then we are going to pay you right now. Father walked across the area where we children sat down and took a straw hat off my lap and started filling it up with centavo pieces from his pocket. He went to Mother, who added a fistful of silver coins. My brother threw in the small change. May I walk across the other hall and stood there for a few minutes, Judge? Father asked. As you wish. Thank you, Father said. He walked across the other room with his hat in his hands. It was almost filled with noise. The doors of both rooms were wide open. Are you ready? Father asked. Proceed, the judge said. The sweet tinkle of the coins beautifully filled the courtroom. The spectators turned their faces and looked at the sound, where the sound came from. Good wonder. Father came back and stood before the complaint. Did you hear it? He asked. Hear what? The man asked. The spirit of the money as I shifted his hat. He asked. Yes. Then we are paid, Father said. The rich man stood up and opened his mouth to speak, children? Father said. My sister started it.